Let's get to the divisional round playoffs, Jason Anik. Here we go. And it's going to be game one of the weekend is going to be the Texans are at the Chiefs. At last check, it is Kansas City -7.5 and over under of 42.5. Now, look, money line is big because everyone is expecting the Chiefs to win. And I hate saying this because you and I grew up around these great New England Patriots, but I have that same feeling here against Houston, Jay, that I used to have when a divisional round foe was coming into Gillette Stadium in the 2000s or in the 2010s, just knowing that they were ultimately going to be slayed by the Dragon.
You know, it's a really interesting spot here. And, you know, Houston almost during the season, in a way, was kind of laying back in the cut. I think Tank Dell, that injury is going to be maybe too much to maybe, I think he's a special player. But, you know, they were locked into that slot for a long time. And I think their defense has been sort of underappreciated this year, right? So for me, when I get to the postseason, you can talk about analytics all you want, but the intuition and the gut feeling from a gambling standpoint, especially in the NFL versus the analytics, is always something I grapple with. But when I'm sitting down this morning and last night talking, you know, trying to handicap some of these games, I'm going with my intuition a lot, right? So I agree with you. I think Kansas City is going to be hard to be upset here. You have a rested, healthy Mahomes, hasn't played since Christmas Day. Ankle's probably great, right? But I think the Texans are going to throw some punches. I think the betting line is where it should be. Soliciting two-way action, 7.5, I would lay off right now. But I actually like both spots to tease, either the Chiefs down or maybe even the Texans up, because I think the Chiefs could cover, but I just don't see a blowout. I think that Houston's defense will be disruptive. Danielle Hunter, Will Anderson, scary, you know, but Mahomes will be ready, right? So in this series, Chiefs have won 4 straight. Last time Houston beat Kansas City was in 2019 with good old Deshaun Watson at the helm. I am laying off at this point in terms of the spread and even the total, right? I'll pay attention a little bit to the weather. I believe that the Texans are going to be ready to play here. And as the week goes along, I would probably lean that side. I think there have been a lot of spots where the Patriots almost threw up over themselves after that bye. And I'm not suggesting Kansas City will, but they barely covered all fucking year. Excuse my language. 0-7 against the spread during one stretch. They've had trouble covering in certain spots. And if you mess around the way Philadelphia did with Green Bay, that Houston offense with Joe Mixon, Nico Collins breaking some plays, I think they could do some things. So while I think Kansas City finds a way to get through this round, I think that Texans team presents a real challenge.
Well, I do believe in the Texans a little bit. I just believe in the power of Kansas City a little bit more. And to your point on not buying in on the spread, Chiefs opened at 7.5. It's been 7.5 and 8 all week. They haven't covered a spread that large all year. 7-0 outright, but 0-7 when laying at least 6 points this season. But my friend, this is the playoffs. This is what the Patriots used to do. They lie in wait to get healthy with the bye week, and then they have the full complement of players to be able to come out with Andy Reid off of a bye. And I think this is we're going to win by 2 touchdowns spot. And here's what I really like, Jay. Chiefs first drive. The touchdown is plus 195 in terms of the result. And then on DK, you can get granular. So if you think it's a passing touchdown, plus 320, a rushing touchdown, plus 650, you start to go through those. And to me, Kansas City is going to come out and I think they're going to score on that opening drive. They've been sitting around for a couple of weeks now. They played with Houston before and dealt with them. And you got to really dig, I think, for some of the value in these games. And this Kansas City one is one of them. Not only do I think they cover, I think they're going to jump early. And this might be, in my opinion, the most uncompetitive game of the weekend.
So as I sit here on the fence, I feel like you may have moved me. And I think you made a great point about looking for the value. But for those of us that don't love flipping a coin to guess who's going to hit pay dirt or betting on a sort of random number, right? I think you've laid out a case for the Chiefs that will certainly, you've moved me a little bit toward that side, right? And as we sit here on a Tuesday, it's good to be able to change your mind as the week goes on, unless you're trying to punch an early number that you love. If you love Houston, maybe you look at getting through that key number of 7 at 7.5. But you just sold me on Kansas City, and I do a show with my brother John every Thursday, 11 a.m. live on Oddshark. And frankly, we have to pick all these games against the spread. Thank you, Andy, because I think you moved me.
You're very welcome. And I think there's a big Andy Reid factor here too, in terms of coming off the bye. Now we're going to get to what is a very interesting game, and that is Washington at Detroit.